The mobile bartending industry is booming, and with the right tools and strategy, you can turn your passion for mixology into a profitable business. But what exactly do you need to get started? Welcome to Behind the Mobile Bar, the go-to podcast for mobile bartenders and aspiring entrepreneurs. I'm Ryan, aka the Boozy Broker, and back when we ran our mobile bartending business, we handled over 300 events and generated over $500,000 in a year, all using the Happiest Ours platform. Now, as CEO and co-founder, I'm helping other mobile bartenders scale and manage their businesses with the same software. I'm joined by my cousin and business partner, CJ, who knows the ins and outs of sales, customer service, and of course, the latest trends in the alcohol industry. And with us is Vivian, owner of the Thirsty Horse Mobile Bartending, who's out there every weekend making it happen using the Happiest Ours platform to grow her business. Together, we're here to share experiences, insights, and real-world advice to help you build and scale your mobile bartending business. Today, we're breaking down exactly what you need to do to start your mobile bartending businesses. And from licenses and equipment to branding and pricing, if you ever wondered what it really takes to get started, this episode is for you. Now, where passion meets profit and every pour tells a story, welcome to Behind the Mobile Bar. What's up, guys?
Yeah, you're so good.
Long time no see.
We need like an audience to that afterwards.
Hey, you know that
That's
last cheesy part? You know where I got that from?
Where'd you get it from?
ChatGBT. Yeah, hey,
That's
come
our
on now.
best
That's
friend.
Ryan's
Yeah, exactly.
favorite toy.
Right.
Although
Yeah,
it
you gotta
still
use
scares
it.
me.
Yeah.
I'm like total conspiracist person, ChatGBT. I don't. It scares me,
you know
but
what?
it's so super helpful, functional.
True.
Yeah.
It's a tool. It's a
Any
tool.
of my best stuff, it wasn't me. It was ChatGBT.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I accept that.
Yeah. It's all about the right questions that you have to ask, right? At the end of the day, even for like the kids nowadays, it's not about knowing the answer. It's about asking the right question.
Okay,
You work smarter, not harder.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
You know what
it.
I just recently caught on to? It's like figured me out as time has gone by. It kind of knows like what it's going to ask, or
Right.
it already knows
It
that I have a
learns
mobile
you.
bar business with a horse trailer.
Right.
So sometimes I won't ask like horse trailer related questions, or you know what I mean. But then it'll be like, but don't forget, we can also serve that from our horse trailer. I'm like, bro,
Right.
why
Right.
didn't I think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
getting ready to replace you.
Yeah.
I know.
No,
Yeah,
no, true.
I know.
It's like ChatGPT is like my big
There's
brother.
only one of me though.
That's true.
It's only one of me.
Yeah, it's like my big brother. It's telling me what to do now. It's like, hey, I need you to go tomorrow and talk to this client and all this shit. I'm like, holy snaps, what's
All
going
right.
on?
Okay.
Yeah, right. But
Okay,
first
okay.
things first, y'all.
Drinkle
Viv-
doodle doos.
Yeah, Viv, what do we have here?
Well, we have, I'm trying to remember because I had to practice like 4 of these ahead of time. We have a violet liqueur. Hold on, I'm sorry. Literally, those
martini,
4 have
right?
kicked in now.
Of course, we've been drinking before the event.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a violet lychee or lychee, depending on how you pronounce it, martini.
Okay.
So cheersies, friends.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good times.
Violet lychee martini. Using Neft vodka, and CJ, I love how you describe Neft vodka. So if you can educate everybody on it, you do it
tasty.
way better than I do. Thank you.
More than
I
happy
like it.
to. Neft is one of my favorite vodkas. What Neft is a super premium vodka made with 4 different winter ryes, as well. It's distilled in a French embolic pot. Great owner, great story behind it.
Right.
You know, the owner of the of Neft originally created it for her husband who worked in the mines, so that he would be able to get a nip of vodka, you know, without the glass breaking and the bottle staying chilled. So she created this indestructible barrel that stays cold for up to 6 hours. It's premium, it's smooth, it's velvet.
Right.
You know, it's everything that vodka should be.
Yeah.
While at the same time,
And,
love it.
and it's clean, guys. Like they literally use the water from the Alps in Austria. So it's like it's super clean. You can sip on it. They made it to be sippable. At the end of the day, everyone knows vodka as just like the, thing you add booze to some type of juice or whatever your mixer or whatever you're making just to add booze to it. But they actually made this so you can sip on it. It's a clean buzz. We were at the Rose Bowl, which was a great experience, and we were just drinking Neft all day, and it was like one of the cleanest buzzes I've had. It was
no hangover.
Yeah, no hangover. It was great. So it's
We
a
will have to test
awesome
that
product.
theory.
Yeah, we'll test that
Certainly.
theory today.
This is fantastic, Viv.
Thank you,
Right.
friend.
Yeah, you did a great
Glad you
job.
like it.
It
Yeah.
looks beautiful. It's like a blue lagoon.
They are pretty. I'll have to start serving you guys some more like manly drinks soon.
I'm okay with my
You're okay with
sexuality.
You say real men drink pink, right?
There you go.
No, it's really good, Viv. I think
you,
it's
guys. I'm
like
glad you like
super
it.
well balanced for a martini that a lot of people can like. Sometimes, obviously with martinis, people feel like it can be like you got to be alcohol forward.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Right.
I think when it comes to like, obviously I do a lot of wedding stuff. People always think of a lemon drop martini,
Yes.
which is super sweet.
Right.
So people don't realize what a traditional martini is. It's liquor.
Yeah.
It
Right.
is just liquor.
It's for those who want to get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
No, I
that's
love
okay.
it. That's great. I'm excited to sip on this while we have today's podcast. So it's going to be very interesting. So today, again, like, guys, what do you need to get started? We're not going to go like super deep into it. And look, guys, I know this stuff could be kind of boring. My wife was just giving me shit earlier because she was just all like, man, that's like some boring stuff you're going to talk about in a podcast. This ain't going to be fun. But we got to talk about it because if you're interested in starting any kind of business, there's some things that are not going to be fun with starting a business. But some of it is fun. So just know that. But we're going to get through it. We're going to add our experiences to it, to some of it and all that good stuff. But let's start with the first one.
Okay.
The first one I think is more of a like planning and strategy phase, right? It's like we all, like in some way or another, before you're going to start something, you've probably thought something through. It might be an informal process for you where you're just thinking of things. Oh, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to do that. But sometimes it's really good to like write it down on paper.
Or do a vision board.
A vision board is great in any form that works for you, right? Like back in the day, people would do business plans, right?
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
create
gosh.
a 30-page business plan.
Yes.
You go to the bank. I got this idea, and you try to get a loan, whatever the situation is. You ain't got to do all of that. Like I'm a huge fan of like a pitch deck, like big font, 7 slides, pitch deck to just get your thoughts out.
What is a pitch deck?
So a pitch deck, normally it's used for pitching, right? So if you're trying to pitch an idea to somebody, if you're trying to raise money, anything of that nature. But it can also be good for yourself to get your thoughts out because normally there's some form of like format with it, right? You kind of have like, what type of problem are you solving? What solution are you providing for that problem? Like those kind of things. But I think the biggest question you're answering for this is like, why do you want to do this? That's the biggest thing. Like the last episode we talked about like why we started our mobile bartending businesses.
Right.
And there were some like core things there that kind of like drove us, like it was very driven for us to start our business, right? And so, but what I'm saying is like it's good to kind of put that down somewhere, right? And just like now you can iterate and change it and stuff like that. And then also like I'm a huge fan of, being very targeted in who you're approaching. I always tell everyone that I see there's riches in the niches. And what I mean by that is like, don't go out there and say, I'm a mobile bartender, right? I think there is power with specialization. So like, Viv, you kind of like jumped into the wedding industry,
Sure did.
right? And so
Yeah.
it's all like, that's how I knew you. You're like, oh, she focuses on weddings. She's doing a shit ton of weddings, right? So it's all like, hey, you can say, I'm a mobile bartender that caters to the wedding industry. And everything you've done after that, right? Getting your trailer, like batching cocktails. Like when we started, we didn't start batching.
Yeah.
No, not at
But
all.
what we all know with weddings, it's like after that, like emotional last ceremony, they're crashing the
not
bar.
after. It's not after. It's like during the I do that most people have like 1 foot off the ground, ready to beeline it.
You start getting those
the bar.
eyes, those heads
Yeah,
turning at the
yeah,
bar,
it's
like
okay, ready,
Right,
set,
right,
100%. Yeah,
Oh.
it's 100%.
So what made you want to focus
Well,
on weddings?
Okay, I feel like between the three of us, I'm most definitely like the fly off the edge of your seat type of person. Why? I don't know. Yes, planning and all that is very important. I think now that I've been in it for a couple years is when I'm better about planning and try to visualize.
Right.
I think at the beginning for me it was just much more of a big picture. Like this is where I want to be in the long run. How do I get there? What do I do? So like a pitch deck and all that stuff, I was something that I've never
You
even been on
wouldn't
my
do. But
mind.
it's
But
almost like
super important. Yeah.
right. But it's like you what I'm saying is like you kind of created that in your head.
Yeah, and I think
Like-
so. I
like
think
what
maybe I
led you to
visualized it versus
Right. Exactly.
Doing this.
Right,
Right.
writing it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
This is how I write things down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I
just
see.
like that.
Old school.
Very
Right.
fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's I think it is important because what happens is you can always go back to it because things may change.
Yeah.
You may say, okay, I'm focused on the wedding industry, but then you're like, oh, you know what? I really like corporate events. And it's just like, how am I going to cater to corporate events instead of weddings? Or maybe you're doing both. I think that's okay though. It's okay to be all like, all right, I'm just gonna be a mobile bartender and just see what comes.
Research. I
Right.
guess now that I'm really thinking about it, like
Right.
research was a huge thing for me. Research on
Right.
the internet, on social media.
Where
like
do you normally see bartenders?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big one for me.
Yeah, and like here's like a quick
Fact.
tip with it. It's like do some research, like you said, around your local area and the mobile bartenders there,
Mhm.
right? And see how they're doing things. And then like how do you want to stand out?
Right.
Try to pull your personality out of, out of it and be like, where can my personality be stamped on this brand that I'm creating or this venture that I want to go down? Because everything's really about authenticity, right? At the end of the day. So it's all like, how do I pull this through and allow people to let them know who I am through the cocktails I'm making or through the type of events I'm doing, Like when I think of you, I think of weddings. When I think of
know.
Thirsty
Yeah.
Horse,
Yeah.
I think of weddings.
weddings.
But that's a good thing. Maybe if you want it, if you like it or not, that's still a good thing versus me not knowing what to think.
Right. Yeah,
Right,
that's a good
right.
point.
Or you're just a mobile bartender,
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So
Yeah, I guess I can say if I really sat down and planned it, I knew in me that I wanted to do wedding bar service.
See.
So, yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was
So
a great niche.
yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So the next thing, guys, is really talking about research, more research, because there's regulations, there's all sorts of stuff, right? All the fun stuff that you have to do
I know.
because
to
you're
drink
dealing
on
with
that one.
Yeah,
I
right,
know,
right.
here.
Because you're
Too
dealing
much.
with alcohol.
Cheers again.
Cheers.
Cheers
I
again.
hear you on that.
It's true.
Bam.
Yeah, alcohol regulations, the fun stuff.
My gosh.
At the end of the day, you're dealing with alcohol, and there's rules behind it and stuff like
But there's
that.
no like black or white rules.
I
There's so much.
It's so, at least
yeah.
from our experience, it's so great. We're out here in the state of California, and I remember jumping into this because, right, you have to understand, going back to I started serving alcohol in England.
Right.
Rules
Oh,
are
that's
very
so
different
important.
out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
You come out here, and there's all sorts of regulations, and so you're just like
Stupid question. England is 21 and over or 18 and over? Yeah.
18,
Yeah,
right?
I think it might even be as low as 16.
Stop.
You
With-
can
with a company with an adult.
A company with an adult. You can start
Really?
drinking at 16 in a pub.
Yeah, I know people that are drinking at 14. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Now,
it's like,
I'm sorry. I don't know if this is off subject or whatever, but serving 16-year-olds. I mean, did you see a load of trouble or was it that common, I guess?
I don't think it's as it's the same thing like with like nudity, right? Like we're in France,
right.
where
I'm sorry,
because
what?
wait, I'm gonna bring it around.
Yeah.
Where like in France, because it's not something that is hidden or put away, right? So that when teenagers
Oh,
are
I
coming
get what
to
you mean.
aid,
Yeah.
right? They're already it's not ooh, what is
Right,
this?
right,
Right.
right.
And that's how alcohol is.
Gotcha.
Right.
No, CJ, you're exactly
Yeah.
right. Like, so when we go there and I'd get hammered out there because, right, like I'm trying to keep up with a person that grew up from England that's been drinking since like 13. And
Lord have mercy.
being a man and trying
yeah.
to, like, I'm gonna drink whatever. He's like, I'm gonna take you on a proper night out. I'm like, whatever that means, bro, I'm gonna do whatever you're
Yep.
doing.
Yep.
And so you think of that, and then I'm like, done. And the
Yeah.
thought is all like, you fucking Yanks, like that kind of thing. That's what they
Okay.
say.
Yeah.
They say all day because it's like we just can't handle our shit compared to them. And to your point, it's more so like, dude, I've been exposed to this at such an early. I was having a beer with my dad at 6 years old, whatever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And to where it's like not this
Exactly.
like thing.
Yeah.
And it's not even that. It's not even that like his tolerance may have been higher than mine. It's just like I get all
At
giddy
16.
excited when I'm
Yeah.
drinking and I'm just like shot, double,
Yeah.
boom, let's go, have fun. He's like, he's gonna be fucked up.
Yep.
Like while he's like being,
Yep.
he's
He's
mature
pa-
about
he's
it.
pacing
Right,
himself.
right.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting
That's
part.
nutty, but I'm
like,
sorry. So I know I
No,
totally
it's
like,
great.
derailed
That's
this.
great.
It's
But
so
like going back
interesting.
to it, look, guys, we won't tap into this too much. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to say here is do your research. Every state is very different with their laws and licenses and regulations. We're in the state of California. I spent a ton of money talking to different lawyers trying to understand what you can and can't do. And sometimes they won't even answer your question directly because I
Because they don't know
question
the
if they
answer.
know.
Yeah,
right?
they don't know the
Right.
I
answer.
called multiple people from the ABC, the Alcohol
Yeah.
Beverage Control, and sometimes I'll get different answers from these guys about what
Yeah.
I can and can't do. So it's you kind of there's certain things that are cut and dry, like you can't do that, right? Like we know that if you don't have a liquor license, you can't technically sell
You cannot sell alcohol,
Right.
people.
So
you
it's like,
cannot do
you
it.
can't do it. You can't do
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
so I know people are doing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and it's not
yes.
like, right, the ABC's
And
not
that's
going to
even
come
something
down
they
and
say. Like, listen, you can't do it, but
yeah, right,
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
they're
Who
not
gonna
going to
stop you?
Who's going to stop you, right? At
Yeah.
the end of the
Yeah.
day, but like, is it illegal? Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, so these are things that you just got to go in there, understand the terrain that you're in and the laws. Every state's different, and just, you know, kind of make your decisions accordingly,
Yeah.
and just be aware of them.
Mhm.
You know,
I
so
would add just really quickly, we are in the state of California, so what that does mean for bartenders in the state of California is that, right, you are required to be RBS certified.
right,
Mhm.
right,
So you do need to make sure that you are responsibly serving alcohol to
Right.
your guests.
right.
And then, you know, and then the rest, there is no bartending license.
No, there's
you
no,
will
people get
get
that confused
Right.
all,
all
the
the
time.
time.
You know, so this is a whole
Yeah.
topic about
Yeah.
bartending schools. That's I think we're gonna have a whole nother podcast
Yeah.
about bartending
Yeah.
schools, because there's two different sides of the coin here. At the end of the day, do you need to go to bartending school in order to bartend? No.
No.
Will you learn something from bartending school?
It's a great
Absolutely.
Yes.
foundation.
But school
Did you guys go to bartending school?
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You
it's
failed
like
the first time.
yeah.
Stop it.
No, that's what I didn't do. Actually, no. You know what? That final test, I did fail a couple
Stop
times.
it.
Did you?
I did.
Stop
I
it.
did. Because
I didn't know
they're
there was
trying
a
to make
final
you make
test.
40
I've never
cocktails
been.
in like 2 minutes. I was all like,
No, no.
Yeah.
like, but it's not realistic. I'm
Yeah,
like, but
yeah.
at times it is.
Yeah,
at
that's
times
true,
it is.
that's true.
But like at the end of the day, bartending schools is like any other school. Some schools are bad. Some
Right.
schools are good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's all like there's value in it. But if you're asking that I absolutely have to do it in order to start my mobile bartending business, no. And also
I didn't
that-
go to bartending school.
exactly right.
Yeah, no.
a lot of the
And
bartenders
you're
we
one
know
of the
they
most
didn't.
successful bartenders that I know.
Right.
No, seriously. Right. And so it's not a requirement.
No.
So just remember.
It's help. It's
Yeah.
extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
exactly.
extra.
It's extra.
Right. Absolutely right. Gives you a leg up.
For people who may not understand RBS or who aren't in the industry, I describe it as like it's the food
handling.
handler's
Right.
card for bartenders.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's fairly new. Like they made it a requirement.
Yeah, I think that was like 2 years ago.
Right. It's
Yeah.
fairly new to where it's
Yeah.
like, hey, you guys got to have this. It's more so required for like on premise
Yeah.
bartenders, but they kind of shifted it to people who are doing events and stuff as well. So
You'll
it's
come
good to have
across
it.
that with venues who know their stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
venues that are really legit that know their stuff. They'll ask
Right.
you
So
for it.
for my new bartenders, just make sure that you go grab that.
Just get it.
It'll give you more opportunities.
Right. Right. That's at the end of
It's
the
not
day.
hard. It's not expensive.
No.
Yeah,
Right.
just
It's-
get
you-
it.
you
Have
get
it
it
in your back
done.
pocket.
Yeah.
Right. And it's all like really you need to do the things that's going to give you more business.
Right.
If venues
Yeah.
are now requiring you to do this stuff, that's what you got to do.
There
so
you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to that third one.
yeah, let's do it. So, okay, the third one, we got a bunch of stuff. So, you know, this is just more so business stuff, but I want to preface it by saying here's my advice when you do these things, right? You want to get these things done, but you don't want to spend too much time planning. Like, go and execute,
okay. I
do
know what you're
things,
getting at.
right?
Yeah.
Start to get your at bats. Like, I think start bartending in a very safe environment.
Mm-hmm.
Do something for your auntie. Do
Yeah.
something for your brother, whatever. Their
Your
events,
coworkers.
your coworkers,
Mhm.
whatever. That you feel safe that you can do it. Get these things done. Don't put them off like entirely because they're very important. But like start doing immediately because you want those reps in. But the next thing is like entity creation, contracts, insurance, banking,
all that exciting stuff.
all of
Yeah.
these things, right? You got to kind of like get these things done. And we're not lawyers or anything of that nature. So I just say go find a trusted lawyer and listen to the advice of that person. But a lot of people create LLCs.
Yeah.
And the major thing is that you just want to protect your personal assets.
Right.
You know,
Right,
if something were to
right.
happen.
Yeah.
Right. You are dealing with alcohol at the end of the day. And if something were to happen, people can attack your personal stuff. So having
Yeah.
some entity that kind of
Right.
gives you protection is important. Figure out what's best for you, what works for you,
How to do
but
it.
and how to
Yeah.
do
You know,
it.
I went through, I don't know if LegalZoom, I know you guys
Yeah,
have all seen
yeah,
the
for
commercials.
sure,
Like,
that
pay
works.
somebody to
Legal
do it.
Zoom is great, right?
It's so great that they did it all for me, and I really don't even know the ins and outs.
there you
I know I
go.
have everything covered.
That's
you,
it.
you really don't have to. And then even when it comes to like your policies, your terms and conditions, and contracts, right? Think of that as all synonymous words. And I would say there are apps out there.
Right.
There are websites out there that will do it all for you. There's a
100%.
great one called Termly that will go ahead and have you create it. It will ask you questions. It will personalize it for you.
Right.
So just take advantage of it. Don't.
It's just always better to be safe than sorry.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
have
there's
something.
Right, and there's companies out there that have created, and they'll help you get started. Like, I'll put in a plug for Mobile Bev Pros, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
you can go over there and just purchase those things if
Yeah.
you wanted to. She has it all laid out, so it's all like great resource for those things.
I'm happy you mentioned Mobile Bev Pros because I literally started my business and did all my research and everything from Mobile Bev.
You're
Mobile Bev Pros. I'm
Well,
telling
yeah,
you, the
yeah,
martinis
yeah.
are kicking.
Yeah,
Damn it.
Hey.
at the end of the
Straight
day,
alcohol.
right?
It is straight alcohol.
That's true. At the end of the day, you're shortening the knowledge gap,
Yeah.
right? When you do stuff like that,
Yeah.
yeah, you pay some money for it, but at the end of the day, you're doing things the right way through somebody that's vetted and has done it before,
And it's easier.
and it's easier,
Yeah.
and you can just get going right away versus like you doing all the research and figuring it out,
Figuring it
right?
out.
So
And then going back to you saying you've spent so much time and money trying lawyers and all this info. I called the ABC so many times. They never answered my questions.
right.
I spoke to you over a Zoom call, like in the middle of like my nurse's desk. Sorry, I was on the clock.
They don't know
Literally, I never called the ABC ever. I've never told you this. Like, I listened to you and I believed you more than like these open-ended answers that I ever even got from the ABC.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's at the end of the day, yeah. I just went through it, and
Yeah.
if you guys know
So
me,
in other words, thank you for spending all that money that
Yeah,
I didn't
right.
have to do.
Yeah.
Anything.
Hey,
Appreciate it.
look,
you
that's
saved
what
me
we're
$1.
here for.
but you know what? Like realistically, like you're right, Vivian. Like we're here to just give it out for free. Like
Yeah.
we'd be total a-holes if we're like, I'm not going to tell you like what
No,
I
and
learned.
that's not okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we're here
If
to
you
share.
guys have questions, we are here for you. Please ask us
Right,
questions.
100%. And so, like, obviously, guys, you got banking, right? At the end of the day, like, go get your EIN. Go start a bank account.
Yeah. Okay, my banking. I have a funny story. I have to pitch in.
There you go.
Hit it.
So, when you set up your LLC,
Yep.
when you guys set up your LLC, you have to type your business name a million times.
Yep.
Right.
A million times, right? Every time you sign, every time you register, tell me why the one time it was very important that I spelled my business name right. I spelled it totally wrong. So that reminds me, because you said banking,
Right.
my banking account is the Thirsty Horse.
Stop
Yes.
The
Yes.
thirsty
The
horse.
thirsty.
The Thirsty
Oh,
No,
Horse.
that's
it should
your
have been,
name.
it should have been the thrusty
Oh
horse.
my
Oh,
God.
Thrusty horse.
Thrusty.
Insemination.
Yeah, right.
Oh, goodness.
Right.
Yeah, so I am
That's
the
so
Thirsty
funny.
Horse at the bank.
I love it.
Wow.
And you guys really be careful when you're going through these legal terms because
Right.
legally,
Yeah, no, DBAs
No, I
matter.
fixed
Doing
that.
business as.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Also, LLC, limited liability corporation.
Right. Right.
So
I'm
yeah,
sure
but
when you
as
go
far
to
as
the
the
teller,
bank knows,
right? I'm sure when the tellers are like, the
okay.
thirsty?
The thirsty?
What's a thirsty?
Yes, that,
Yeah.
she thinks I'm an OnlyFans account as
oh
well.
yeah. It's okay.
I love it. Hey.
All those cash bills
Yeah,
you're
so
bringing
now you
in.
guys
Right.
know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this
Right.
vodka is really just letting me air it all
That's
out
it,
there
guys.
today.
But
Okay.
really, the bank account, I'm glad you brought that up because the bank account is more so of you just want to separate
Yes.
your personal expenses
from
Right.
with your business
Right.
expenses. You want to separate
100%.
that stuff. If here's another like quick advice. If you can, get QBO, which is QuickBooks Online, and just sign up for it.
Yes.
And just attach it to your bank account. You don't even really have to do anything with it. But if you do that, your CPA or tax accountant, when you're ready for it, is going to thank you so much.
Again,
will love you.
another podcast episode.
Right. That's a whole nother thing. We're gonna bring
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna bring some CPAs over here and we're gonna go deep into it. And that's why it's like we're gonna give you guys a quick little cliff notes, do your own research, but like I think it's more so about we'll go deeper into it with each little thing at some point. We'll talk to like real experts, which is gonna be pretty cool. All right, we talked about contract and policies. Insurance is interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
We won't go too deep into it, but like I come from an insurance background.
You do.
Right? Which is helpful. And
He loves this stuff.
I do love this
Yes,
stuff.
and
I'll
he's so
geek
good at
out.
it.
I know.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have these guys stop me if I geek out too much. But the one thing that I do want to say, some advice here is that right, the major things you need if you're in the state of California, I can't speak with everyone
Right.
else, is general liability and liquor liability.
Yes.
Those are things you can buy from. You can literally go to Google.
I'm
and
sorry,
type
let me
in-
interrupt you. If you have a trailer or a rig that you're serving from, inland marine insurance.
Right, inland marine insurance. It's like a form of property insurance with
Mm-hmm.
that. So yes, so you need those insurances. There's some pretty cool companies out there. Which one do we use? We use
Flip.
Flip. Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Oh,
Flip.
you use Flip too?
Yeah, Flip
Oh,
program.
yeah.
kudos to those guys. They make things super simple
It's
for you.
so easy.
So easy. You can get your
Yeah.
certificates of insurance, all that stuff. But like, here's the thing. So those are the two things you need for the core of it. If you do an event for like Netflix or Amazon, we had one for Amazon when we did San
Yeah.
Francisco. We
Yeah.
did a mixology class for Amazon
In LA.
and in LA, right? And so the thing is, they're going to have a vendor requirement that's going to apply to any vendor that they deal with. It could be a roofer. It could be a contractor that's completely like doing
It could be
all
you
sorts
driving
of risk.
through the property.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a mobile bartender. And so they're going to have these ridiculous requirements of like your umbrella insurance. They want $1 million, $5 million, your like workers' comp, like quickly we'll talk about that, but then auto liability, like those three things. But you have to know when to push back, I guess is what I'm getting to.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you need to say to whoever you're dealing with, like, hey, look, like, I understand you need these things, but like understand that we're a mobile bartender. And so like our exposure for umbrella liability, like it's not that high. We're just making a cocktail for a few people. We have liquor liability to cover those things. And some people will cave and they'll be like, oh, you're right. And they'll be okay. I would say 8 times out of 10 or 9 times out of 10, we've always got the approval and they're like,
Yes.
you're right. You're good to go.
Yes.
Because again, the exposure of bartending is very different than someone changing your roof.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how they're applying things. They're just trying to check the box.
Yeah, and guys, one thing to keep in mind is that usually the person you're dealing with who's booking you for the event is just following a checklist.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Right.
it.
And they don't necessarily
They
understand.
don't necessarily know. So they
Yeah.
just see, oh, like somebody told me to ask for this.
Right.
and you
right?
don't have it, so that means you're not good. No,
Right,
it's not. Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, I definitely remember a time, right? We have this one vendor, and they are sticklers for it, and they do know their stuff. I will give them that. And like, I had to spend like 2 hours meeting with them to go over all of their rules
Gosh.
during my sister's graduation
Oh,
in
lovely.
Chicago.
Okay.
Brutal.
And if I didn't go through this meeting, they were not going
having
to
it,
let
right.
me let our team bartend there.
Right.
And so like when you have clients like that, for sure, right? You want to make sure you're dotting your I's, crossing your T's, and so having that right insurance policy. But then you're also gonna have clients. I've also had this where they ask for it. Hey, do you have insurance? And so I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
We're going to get ready to,
Like,
you know,
back and forth.
right? To
Yeah.
go back and forth.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then I'll be like, so you need the name that they want on the policy.
Yeah.
Right.
You need the address.
Their
that
email.
their
Yeah.
email. And and it was so funny because I'll ask for it and they're like, well, why do you need that? And I'm like, you don't need insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? Right?
Mhm.
Like you just don't.
Right. Right.
And it's not, but but for sure, 1,000%, having your insurance policy. Again, we're talking about opportunity.
Right.
You never want to limit your opportunity.
Yeah, CJ, that's a
Yeah.
great point. Like,
Yeah.
you will never get to those events if you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
And
certain
don't
things
wait.
you gotta have.
You know, I know you know, but there's a difference between like you can pay for insurance for the just one day or the one event or
Right.
the whole
So
year.
I'm so glad you said that
Yeah.
because, like, I
Great
brought the
point.
example of the umbrella policy. Like,
Mhm.
there's certain times where you probably will need it, or they may say, like, I don't care. You either have it or you're not coming on site and doing this job. And at that point, then you can get a one-time policy. You can probably increase your policy for the year and go back to your insurance carrier or broker. And at that point, you want to pass that cost on. You want
Yeah.
to say, like, hey, if you're going to make me do this,
Right.
like
Right.
you got to pay the extra $300-$400 in order for me to have it because all
Yeah.
my other events don't need it.
Yeah.
And they'll pay it, because
And that's
you're
what
at that
sets you
point.
apart. That's
Yeah.
what sets you apart from doing and no shame in anybody's game by all means, but that'll set you apart from doing something in someone's backyard.
Right.
Mhm.
Versus you mentioned Netflix earlier, versus being on Netflix property and doing
Right.
something for those, big wigs.
Right.
Yeah.
And you will have insurance in those situations
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
If something crazy happens, right? Insurance gets a bad rep. Like no one wants to pay it because you don't get any
Yeah.
immediate
Yeah.
results out of it, but you want it
But-
when something crazy
yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
right? So
I still think insurance deserves a bad rep.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I'm
Have you
just-
ever had?
I'm
Have you
just
guys ever
saying.
like really had to use insurance?
Never.
Yeah.
not with
For
I had
Knock
to
on
file a
wood,
claim.
knock on wood.
Right, right.
I
And
know,
I had to file a
knock on
claim.
wood for now.
wood.
No, I have to file a
Okay.
claim.
Yeah.
And then the last tip about this, guys, I know we're belaboring the insurance piece, but workers' comp, that's an interesting one. So in the
Yes.
state of
That's
California,
something I'm still like batting
Yeah.
back and forth on.
so in the state of California, if you are the owner, there's a lot of like single, like owner-operated bartending companies. If you're the owner, you're not required to have workers' comp insurance. You can be exempt from it. If you tell them, they're like, hey, I need workers' comp insurance. You say like, hey, no, I'm the owner of the company, like this and that, or everyone's contractors. Now, I do think that if you have people under your team, you should probably W-2 them and stuff like that. But like, if you're the owner, you can go back to them and you can say, hey, look, state of California allows us to be exempt from this. I'm the owner of the company. I'm the one who's doing this. And some of them will have you sign an exempt form. They'll give you this exempt form. You just sign it, give it to them, you're good to go. So that's something that, just FYI, you guys can do that and
that's
just
good to
ask
know.
for it.
Very, very good point.
Right.
That's why you're the brains of this operation, boss.
No,
Thank
hey,
you.
just,
Yeah.
I don't know, like 12 years of insurance, you got to learn a little something.
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah, trips to England and all.
right. So that's right. So that's right. We're going to cut this. We're going to do a little break. Like, we're after the third one. What do you guys?
Okay.
Let's hear from our sponsors.
I love where this conversation is going. This video was sponsored by Happiest Hours. We are a one-stop platform that's designed to help mobile bartenders succeed and grow in their businesses and make real-time connections effortless. Click the link in the description to book a demo today. Now grab a drink and let's get back to this podcast.
All right, everybody, we are back. Thought we can address a little bit of question corner so we can get the crowd involved.
Let's go.
So I got here from XO Roxy XO.
My girl Roxy.
Roxy, cheers, girl. Beep.
Appreciate you.
What is the craziest bartending story you've had?
You see, this is.
There's so many.
There's so many. There's two. I won't mention two. The first, I'll mention two, but the first one I'll say real quick. One, we had 10 events in one day, and we literally pulled people from nowhere off the street. Like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Nothing.
Do you know
You're
how to
a bartender
bartend?
now. Yeah.
Do you know how to bartend? No,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, you're a bartender now. That's what you're doing
You've been
tomorrow.
dubbed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So come with me and let's do this together. Like, one of those things. So that was wild. But gosh, I don't want to go too heavy into it. But like, I was actually going to talk about, I was going to do like a talking head situation of like fuck ups. Like, what do you do when there's fuck ups? And I go back to the story of like that one event where it was on a particular day and they switched the day of the event.
Oh my gosh.
And she didn't
Nightmare.
tell us.
Yes.
And so now it was like the event was starting. This event was more than 50 miles away from where we're at. And she was like, where are you guys at?
Stop it.
And we're
At
like,
the start time that the event was supposed to happen.
No.
Right.
Yes.
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 And we were like, what do you mean? The event's tomorrow. They're like, no, it's today. I told you guys.
And that's like when your heart immediately sinks.
Instantly.
yeah. And
Instant.
but you know what's great? It's everything is about, if you keep your mind focused on the big goal of what you're doing, it's all about, let's not talk about the past. Let's not talk about what happened. It's all about just go. How do you just think about
true.
the solution
That's
in
what
that point in time?
I think both of you guys are good at. Ryan especially. I was handling the client. I love that. You didn't throw me underneath but I was handling the client. For sure, she didn't tell me.
Right.
And it was so crazy because Ryan was actually training our bartender to prepare her for the event tomorrow.
Right.
When I get the call, and she's like, "Hey, the event's going on. Where are you?
Stop it.
Like you said, heart sank, right? And then and my demeanor is, oh, this ain't happening. But Ryan's demeanor,
oh, you guys are polar opposites.
Right.
is polar
Like
opposites.
that ain't my bad.
No.
In good and bad ways
Yeah.
for both sides. Like I forget a lot of shit and he remembers. But like, yeah, in this moment, he's probably all like, how did this happen? We keep thinking about that. But I'm just like, no, bro, we just got to go
I'm
knock it out.
focused on the issue.
Right.
And Ryan's like, let's just make it better. And yeah, Ryan grabbed, it just so happened that Alana, thank God, had already packed for the event.
Right.
Andrea was already there.
Right. Because we were training for it.
Yeah,
We were
everything.
all at the
Training
store
for it.
training for the event, showing
Yeah.
her some of the cocktails, right? The R&D side of things, we were doing that. So she was with us already.
Literally took the bar that was in our store.
Yes.
Grabbed the stuff.
And took off.
And when she took off,
Stop
made it there. What time do you think you got there? Made it there like
So you know what? She hit us up. I think a little
Maybe
bit
an hour
Yeah,
before.
because remember because we always say like, hey, we'll show up at least
show
an
up
hour
like an
before.
hour before to
Yeah.
set
And
up.
so, but she realized that we weren't there, so she
Yeah.
hit us up the hour before it started. But bear in mind, like we're driving into LA, so it's gonna take a while. And we still have to grab shit and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we got there probably like 30 minutes or so after the actual
The
start.
actual service was supposed to start.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Service
And
was
so
just
so we
let
get
us.
like to be fair, all things considered, and obviously we had to get there and set up and all that stuff. So we
Yeah.
really probably didn't start making cocktails like an hour after we were supposed to
Wow.
start.
Dang.
Now, to be fair, you
But-
know,
but this wasn't to your like fault per se. You
so
were, yeah.
but this is how we took it, and this is like my answer to like, even if it's a perceived fuck up, like what are you
Yeah.
gonna do at that
Yeah.
point?
Right.
You're gonna really battle and say like, no, you're wrong,
Right.
this is
Right.
wrong. Like at the end of the day, at that point, and I'm not saying that this is the solution for everybody, but this is how I approach it because there's always something good that happens at the back end of it. Like we showed up. We got there. They were mad. It was her best friend's 40th birthday. Like everybody was waiting for drinks. But we got there. Everyone still had a good time. I comped the entire event and the alcohol that was included for it. And I did an after party to them in their house
Bro.
At a separate location.
at a separate
Stop
location.
it!
Took
At a separate
everything,
location.
took it upstairs,
you
2
for
flights in
real?
the corner, small in the corner, and we stayed there till like 3, 4 o'clock in the
Wow.
morning.
It was
Yeah.
4
And-
o'clock in the morning.
right,
It wasn't
So
and-
you're going to
did
be
the event.
unforgettable for a great reason.
Yes.
Versus
It's
a
just
bad
yeah.
reason.
And here's the thing: you could tell that like she needed somebody to fall on the sword.
yeah.
Like she could tell, like she was not going to be the one that was going to be like, I messed up my best friend's birthday party.
Yeah.
And she was like, I just said, hey, I'll fall on the sword. That's fine. But what I'll do is I'll make sure that you guys leave with a good experience. And you know what
Yeah.
happens? We're still friends till today. They booked
And
us for things
yeah,
after that.
you have
like
to-
all of
yeah.
those things, right?
Yeah.
Because
Good for you
that's
guys.
just how you do it. Even though if they're 100% like, sorry, that was on you. And here's the thing: like
right.
we built the platform for reminders.
Yeah.
There's messages, there's emails, there's text messages. Hey, your
Right.
event's in 5 days, your event's
Yeah,
in 1 day.
it really is, yeah.
There's no way that we
you
can
can
mess
make
this
that
up.
mistake.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Right. It
So-
will for sure remind you.
That's what some of these crazy experiences are for. It's you have
Yeah.
to learn, and sometimes you're never going to learn until you go through it.
Right.
Yeah. Vivian, what was your crazy experience?
Mine is crazy, and I'm going to say there was no learning experience to it. It was just crazy. So 2-3 years ago, I am doing a wedding, typical, right? First wedding of our crazy busy wedding season. 1 week before, I broke my foot. I like ripped all the tendons in my foot. I was down and out, but there was no way in hell I was gonna miss out on the first wedding of the season. So, and I'm gonna try to keep this short, but I show up to this wedding in my little scooter. You know those knee scooters
Oh,
that like
no,
you got
you
one broken
didn't.
leg on?
Wow.
No, you
I do remember when your foot was, I do remember that.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I was in the trailer, so I'm like, nobody will notice, right? I'm on my little scooter like this,
Viv,
scooting
you're
around back
crazy.
and forth. I'm nuts. I'm trying not to be too detailed as to not throw anybody under the bus, but I guess the owner of the venue was into black magic or witchcraft or something. So tell me, why does this guy offer to do a little prayer over my broken foot?
Oh.
And I'm trying to be nice,
Right.
you know, like,
yeah.
oh, I would super appreciate it. Thank you. This man straight up does a full-on exorcism on my leg in the middle of like this wedding reception area. Okay, I'm talking about full-on beating on my leg like, Lord, this is your leg. Heal Vivian. And I'm looking around like, somebody
Yeah. Yeah.
girls, somebody save me.
Wow.
In the middle, you know, on my scooter, people are walking around, and what was it? Oh, the guy starts beating on my leg. Lord, take this leg. This leg is yours. And then he's like, all right, Miss Vivian, take off your cast. You can walk now. And I'm like, sir, my doctor says it's not a good idea. My doctor said I should keep it on. Thank you to the photographer who was like, Miss Vivian, we're ready for pictures. And I'm scooting away like, bye, sir, thank you. But let
Wow.
me tell you, the next day, because my brain wouldn't let it go, I took off my cast, I walked, no pain, no problem. But then I put it back on because my doctor said not to do that.
Right. I love
So
it.
you're saying black magic works?
Yeah.
That's what I'm,
I'm not
hearing.
saying, but I'm saying.
I heard black magic works.
And you know, last I heard, he's not in business, but you know, that was the craziest thing.
There's
He
a
had a
time
higher
and
calling.
place for things.
Yeah,
Probably not the
yeah.
right time
Probably
and place
not
for that.
the right
Yeah.
place in the middle of
Yeah.
somebody's wedding
Right.
to exercise my foot into being healed out of nowhere. Yeah.
That's
we
wild.
we come across a lot of wild stuff.
Yeah.
What did I learn from that? What's my silver lining? Don't break any bones or tendons
Yeah.
before wedding
Yeah.
season.
Right.
See, mine was mine's a little X-rated. I'm not even sure if I can tell this story. Yeah.
You can tell the best way you want to, man.
Oh man.
Don't say any
Spill
names.
the tea.
Don't say any names.
I'm gonna say one name. It's because I need somebody to verify me.
Stop it. Let me get my drink.
Yes. This was with Justin.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Trouble.
I know
Yeah.
Don't
where you're
say
going.
anything
Yeah.
else.
I know where
Don't
you're
say-
going. I know where you're going.
I'm gonna drink, and Justin's one of our bartenders for you guys.
One and only.
No,
that's Jordan.
Oh, that's right. I'm
Justin-
sorry,
Justin.
Yeah,
guys. My
Justin
bad.
is our head
Catnip.
bartender.
That's right, you're right, you're
Catnip. I nickname him Catnip. He's a handsome fellow. But what made this event so crazy is that so Justin and I, we walk into this event, and the minute we walk in there, I'm like, oh, this is interesting, right? Because there are two women that are like almost naked,
Okay.
and they're in the pool, but like nobody else at this party is in the pool. It's just the women. So I'm like, oh, okay, like those must be guests. Then they get out the pool and they start serving people like silver platters, like food and hors d'oeuvres
In the.
in the bikinis.
Oh, okay, there was bikinis.
They were bikinis, and so I'm like, huh, okay, this is interesting because it's an engagement party.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay. But what made it weird was that so we're bartending, we're making some cocktails, and then I see these women, they're walking with this substance on this silver platter. And I'm like, huh,
In there. Mm-hmm.
What's going on here?
what's going on here?
Yeah.
And my man Catnip strikes again because he gets a fan, right? Which is this older woman. And this older woman is like, would you like me to get you some ecstasy?
Ah.
And I go and I look at Catnip because, you know, that's not me.
Right.
So I don't know that world. So I'm like,
That's scary.
yeah,
That's scary.
I'm like, Catnip, what is she talking about?
What do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do? What do I say?
What do I say? And yeah,
Oh, gosh.
so that goes around. Catnip politely declines, and we keep
As
on.
you should when you're on the clock,
Thank
people.
you.
Yeah,
So,
right,
like,
right.
Let's remember
Be
that
responsible.
You're always
Oh,
working.
my gosh.
You are always
You're always
working.
on the
Yeah.
clock.
Right,
Yeah.
and so you just never know who you're gonna meet. You never know, right, where you're gonna be, and that's why I have to really appreciate Catnip's professionalism.
Yeah, dude, you raise a really good point because, you know, we do private events.
Yeah.
And there's that point where it's all like, you know, they make you feel like family. They want you to partake.
Yes.
You know, they want you to have
Yes.
fun and be a part of it. And that's all good, but you always have to know they still hired you.
Yeah.
You still need to be a professional.
Exactly.
You know, you still need to do a job.
Yeah.
And anything that you're doing that's going to, you know, affect you doing your job, you should stay away from. You know, you
It's
gotta
your
know your limits.
reputation.
You gotta
Yeah.
know like all that stuff, you know. So it's like another topic is all like, if you have a bartending business, you got bartenders, do you allow them to drink
I
or
was
not?
just gonna
Right.
say that.
That's
Do-
a,
now,
that's
do
a
you
big
got-
one.
huge
Do
That's
you
a big
allow
one.
that? Does Happiest?
So it was
we've
a
graduated.
dance. It was
I
yeah.
know.
We've tried a bunch of things, and you know I think we can get into that. Like, but essentially we've evolved and like it changed over time. It was like okay, people that we trust that can do it, but then now it's all like well, we can't say you can drink it, you can't.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and so now we had
Because
to
you want to be
standardize
able
it.
to go back and say, no, my people know that they cannot do that.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and it's all like, but there's an aspect of trying your cocktail, making sure that it's on point to what it's supposed to taste like, you know, that kind of thing. People are asking, like, take a shot with me. Like, you're at a private event. It's very different than at a bar and stuff like that.
You're part
So
of the party.
You're part of the party.
Yeah.
So it's all like, you know, it's tough. The answer is like, if you're trying to be like straight black and white, is all like no.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
No.
no
Yeah.
chance. If I have 300 bartenders under me, no chance.
Yes. Yes.
You know, at the same time, there's a little slight like, because of like I want them to gel with the party and
Right,
have fun. Some
right.
people are a little too uptight
Yeah.
and they need a little something. Like us, we having a little drink right now. The conversation is flowing. That's what's going to happen. But you can't trust 300 people to take that responsibility
Exactly.
and do it
Exactly.
right. So it ultimately for us came to a no.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't
Same.
do it
Yep.
because we went through experiences, which
Yeah.
that's part of the F-ups.
Yeah,
That we'll have
yeah,
we'll have an
that's-
episode on that, which that's going to be really
man,
cool.
Too
Yeah.
many
Right.
stories, but yeah, we'll
Stop
share
it.
there. At the end of the day, we'll just say that.
I know, I'm sorry.
our
We
party-
took over your-
that
your
was great.
story.
The party ended in with us standing outside in the cold while everybody else went inside, and that's where I'll leave it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, cheers to them
I love
and
it.
their crazy party.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
Alrighty,
it.
what's our next
Ryan-
topic?
Yeah.
What's
Circle
our
us
next,
back in.
our
We're
next
circling back
topic,
in,
Boozy
guys. So
Broker?
look, just to rehash, right? So we're going over the things that you need to start your bartending company, right? So we talked about planning and strategy. You kind of have that plan, but you also need to, execute and do things, right? The second thing was more so of like obtain the necessary licenses and permits, right? Do your research in your jurisdiction, county, whatever. Know what you need to do and what you're getting yourself into there. Then your entity creation, and you have your contract and insurance and banking, like all that stuff. You want to kind of like create that stuff. Now the next one is kind of cool, like the equipment and supplies you
Oh,
need,
that's the fun stuff.
right?
Yes,
To start
yeah.
your bartending company. And this is where like I can go back to number one, where it's like the planning and strategy. Because when I say planning and strategy, like who are you going after? Right? We call it the avatar or the ICP, the ideal customer profile. You can say, I'm going after weddings in Vermont. You can say, I'm doing corporations that are Fortune 500 companies, right? You can say, I'm doing backyard parties in this area, right? So you have to first look at that and then find out what you need to provide a service to that avatar, right? So at the end of the day, you have your, do you need a portable bar or not? That's probably one of the bigger expenses.
Right.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't hear a word you said. I'm just so impressed by your crotch reading.
Oh yeah. Hey, you
it's,
know what?
It's incredible.
Hey,
it's incredible.
Hey, look.
Crush.
Hey, y'all
My-
gonna see
my
this
microphone
throughout
is
the
blocking
episode.
that.
Y'all
Oh
gonna
my
see this
God.
throughout the episode. I'm about to be down here like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure this is on point because look,
this
at the,
PG?
right at the end of the day, I know. I just really like looking down. You know what I'm saying? No, but it's like, look, I'd have my computer over here, but that junk is elsewhere. So, and it's like I could have it over there, but it's all like this is where it's gonna be.
I like it. I like
It's
it.
easy for
I
you.
Crotch
like it.
reading
Crotch
2025.
reading.
Crotch reading
Put
2025.
that in Webster.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
man.
Right. So, hey.
All right, okay,
Okay, so
Yeah,
equipment.
back to it.
Okay,
Back to
okay,
it. Back to it.
equipment.
Equipment. So you got to know what you need. Now, at the end of the
Super
day,
basic.
it can be super, okay. Like
Super
your tools.
basic.
You clearly need your tools.
Your bar
Yeah.
kit.
Like
Yeah.
that's what's great
Yeah.
about this industry. Going back to the first episode, it's all like we talked about how it could be low cost to start versus
Yeah.
like starting your own brick and mortar or any other type of business. Like you can literally buy a shaker, a jigger,
Strainer.
strainer, like all of
Yeah.
these things, the bartending tools, you can get it on Amazon. It doesn't cost that much, and you can literally be ready to rock.
Yeah.
Some of these places have bars already.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
Or look, you can kitchen counter it at someone's house if you need to.
What are some essentials you would say should be included in every bartender kit?
Ooh.
Right. I know you mentioned a few, right?
Yeah.
You have your shaker,
Yeah.
but how many shakers should a bartender bring?
Well, it depends on what you have on site. So
Right.
are you able to clean or wash your dishes, your shaker?
Let's say you're going in blind.
You're
and
going in blind. If you, however many drinks you have, if
Right.
anything's going to be shaken, make sure you have a shaker for every different one.
And I would say add an extra one on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love, you have a shaker for any shake and drink that you need. Let's say you have out of the 3 signature cocktails, you got 2 that are shaken. I'm saying bring 3 shakers because what if those mocktail situations for speed? You want to have that one that's all like, all right, this one doesn't have alcohol in it.
Right.
And yes, you can rinse and all that stuff, but you're optimizing for speed.
Yeah.
Right.
And have shakers, have different color shakers,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's
Or
a good one.
whatever
Or
it
different
is.
styles.
Different styles or
Yeah,
something to where
yeah.
you
Like
know,
a Christmas shaker, because it was
100%.
Christmas. It was Christmas 5 months ago, but you're still using it.
right,
Because,
right. This is my
It's
shaker.
Christmas all year
My
long,
shaker.
right?
Right. So you do have that, right? So you have what do you have here? I think I have a list of
crotch
stuff.
Knife,
You got bar
yeah.
spoons, wine openers. Oh,
Oh,
the
my
wine opener.
God.
Wine opener.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Bartenders
so big.
practice opening wine bottles.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
oh,
right.
you know,
cannot-
it's a good time. Yeah.
right? Garnish trays, pour spouts.
Yeah.
You can never have too many pour spouts.
Yeah.
What if a customer gives you like 5 different bottles of booze and you trying to free pour it or whatever, and you're just like, oh, now I got to take the spout off of here and do here, or you're like jiggering,
And the
measuring,
same thing, are you rinsing
you
it?
know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, right? So,
A knife.
Oh,
a knife,
Because there's always something.
Right.
And it
Opening.
might not even be for you. It's for like a guest.
Right.
Or, you know.
Now coolers.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right,
coolers,
you got that.
supplies.
Obviously, let's see here. If you're batching cocktails, like equipment for that stuff, right? You have that. Juice
Funnels.
containers, funnels, right? So these are all things that you can get to start your business. But again, it doesn't cost that much. Now, I will say this.
It doesn't have to be difficult.
It doesn't have to be difficult. I will say this, and I kind of go back and forth. It's like, if you're all in and you really want to get going in this business and you want to target a certain type of demographic or, you know, your ICP that I talked about, like, invest in these items. Like, get a nice portable bar. Because at the end of the day, I think I talked about it at some point where it's all like, you don't know what you miss out on. And you know what's funny? When we first started, I always felt like the portable bars that we had that were cool, everyone loved them, little transformer things, great for the backyard boogie.
Great.
But when it came to the, you know, more elevated events, didn't quite fit the bill.
Yeah.
And I always felt that. Like, we would be at those events and I'd still use the same bar, but I always felt like, man, it doesn't look as nice as it should. And you know what? I felt like we missed out on events because of that. Because what happens is, if your setup is dialed in, you may have a back bar. You got a big, nice bar. Like, shout out to Ultimate Bars. They got a great product.
Yeah.
You invest in those things. They're not cheap, like, but whatever. You invest in those things. Now what happens is, when you got 100 guests come into this event, if they come in and they see this setup, it's going to trigger them about an event that they have coming up. Because they're going to say, you know what, I kind of want, I would love to have that at my event that's coming up.
Right.
And they're like, now they're getting your contact info, and now you may open up because of your setup.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so it's like, it's one of those to where, you know, I can see both. Like, I'm not saying for you to like get into debt and overspend on these things. Like, start somewhere, get that going.
If you're crafty, build your bar.
You can build your bar. There's
say,
all sorts of ways you can do it.
Expensive.
Right,
Like,
right,
honestly, I had my neighbor build my first bar out of like old wood we had found under someone's overgrown grass.
And now it's rustic.
Right.
Rustic chic, weddings, 100%.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
there's
great
always, I know, first episode we talked about getting to know your vendors and reaching out to vendors. There's always somebody there that has something for you. So there will always be somebody there that's
1000%.
willing to build a bar for you.
Yes,
It's not $1 million. It's
Right.
going to look cute. It's going to fit in. Yeah.
Or rent a bar and build it into your price.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
100%. If you gotta like fake it so you make it. I'm so glad you brought that up. There's a bunch of places that will rent things, and at that point you can like just bake it into your price and say, I'm gonna go get this for this event type of thing, and
you don't have to store it.
But
You don't have to store it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So not having a bar should never be a reason that you don't bid for an event or that you say you can't do an event.
Yeah.
Right.
Love that.
Because there are also some events where a table is just fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That
Right.
works. And
Right.
and you know, to your point, to dive in a little bit deeper, just make sure you price yourself right. So if you're gonna rent a bar, you got to think of everything. I always tell people, think of from start to finish all the costs, even if you're doing it, that takes to get that bar. You're gonna go drive and go get that bar. You're going to take it, the cost of the bar,
Get a
renting it. You're
U-Haul.
going to bring it back.
Yeah.
You're going to take it to the event. You're going to take time to set it up. Make sure if you had to pay somebody to do all that for you, what would that cost be?
Yeah.
And make sure that you're charging for it. So just something to think about there.
And that's stuff that you learn with time.
You learn it with time.
You
learn
learn
it with
it
time.
with time.
But
Oh,
even still, like, I know, Vivian, like, you've invested in your trailer.
Oh, my
But
gosh.
like
yeah.
having your trailer, right? I'm assuming it got you so many events. We were just
really
at an
did.
event this weekend with
yesterday.
you. Just
Yeah,
yesterday.
just
That's right.
yesterday.
It
Thanks,
was
guys.
yesterday.
That was a wonderful surprise.
Right. And so like, but it looked great. The setup looked so great. And there were
you.
some components I was like, oh, I didn't even know you had that.
Yeah.
And it's just all like, I know that triggers some people to be all like, I want that at my thing.
Exactly. It's
You know?
different. It's eye-catching. It's a conversation starter, icebreaker. Yeah, you know, it's just something. But it doesn't have to be a trailer. It could be a little bar that you made out of wine barrels.
Right.
Right.
Or, you know, like some sort of
right.
old school suitcase boxes you had at home. Anything, you can do it. You know, as long as your stuff is all balanced out, nothing's spilling over the top, you're good.
You're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the next one. See, now CJ got me like lifting my phone now. You like the crotch phone.
No,
I can't even look down
we're
anymore.
okay with the crotch
I said it
I
was
gotta
phone.
pick it up
amazing.
now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all right. So number 5, the 5th one that we have is, this is kind of fun. Building your brand and finding your clients.
Yeah.
So this is like, you know, your logo, right? Your website.
Yeah.
Like these are all the cool, exciting. If you're creative, these are all the exciting things. And the one thing that I would say is like, you know, especially with your logo, like make it personal, like make it you. You know, does it, when you look at it and you walk back, however you got it, you spent $1,000 on it, or if you went to Fiverr, you spent $100 on it, or you created it yourself.
ChatGPT.
Or you asked
ChatGPT is the damn
ChatGPT, you
thing.
beat me to
Yeah,
it.
create an image of a logo that's for Thirsty Horse.
Yeah.
That'd be actually interesting. See what they come up with.
I actually just did, and I really like it.
Yo, there you go. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Do I see a revamp coming pretty soon?
Maybe.
Maybe. There you go.
Check my stories, guys.
Yeah.
I'm taking a poll. I'm taking a poll.
There you go. That's it. I love it. But so but just make sure it's you and it's
Yeah.
authentic, and you'll know and you feel it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. Like look at 10 of them or whatever, and if it's not it, like don't settle. But you know what I mean? Keep trying and get it, because this is the thing that's gonna, you know, live with you. But at the same time, don't like spend, you know, 6 months on like, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's it.
It
Right.
doesn't have to
You
be
know?
perfect. And
It
that's
doesn't
what
have
I've
to be
learned
right.
over time. Like,
Right.
that perfection is what intimidates people.
Yes.
Right.
It's so perfect. Can
You're
your
right.
client meet perfect expectations?
Right.
Yeah. So,
Right.
yeah.
And to your point, look at how many big brands, they logos, they change.
Oh.
Apple,
Time.
Starbucks, you know, all of these companies, their logos have evolved and changed. Nike, right? Like
McDonald's.
all of that. McDonald's, yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So like don't harp over it, but you still got to feel something about like, this is me,
Yeah.
you know, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So you have that. Obviously you have like websites, you know, you got business cards. You want to make sure that people that, now we have digital business cards.
Right.
We're big about
Right.
that. Shout out to Popple. We use Popple
Yeah.
a lot.
Popple
You know what I
is
mean?
great.
Popple's solid
But
because
I also would still say, for sure, 1,000%, have your digital business cards, but also don't cut out a huge community that uses
Right.
physical business.
Yeah,
right.
I'm
So
stuck in that
have
right now.
physical.
Yeah, I'm stuck in that
Yeah.
right now where I've kind of like shied away from business cards because it's an expense.
It's an
Yeah,
expense.
yeah.
And in my eyes, I see like people don't even use these.
Right,
But
they
I
just toss
still,
'em.
every event, it's like,
They
do you have
ask for
business
it.
cards? Like, no, follow me on Instagram. No.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was experiencing that yesterday with an older crowd. Everybody wanted business cards.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So on my to-do list is reorder business
Reorder
cards.
some business
Yeah,
cards.
you know what? I
Yeah.
think a great like you know, kind of like action for this situation is have some business cards.
Yeah.
Have it in your pocket
Yeah.
and assess if you really need to
Know
give
your
it to
crowd.
somebody or not.
Yeah.
But have
Yeah.
that digital business card. If they ask, hey, do you
Yeah.
have a business card? And you just say like, hey, if you just scan here, you're gonna get all my information. And especially like with Popple, what's great is that you can set it up to where you capture their information. If they scan it, they're gonna be forced to put in their name and their information to where now you get it.
Yes.
Because that's what people hate.
Yeah.
You give them a business card and then they just like toss it, they forget about it. And it's more so of like, all right, now I can't reach out to you.
Connect.
You seemed really interested in
Yeah.
doing this
Right.
thing with me. If I just followed up with you, I might be able to do that thing.
Right.
So it's like you can capture their information. And then they also have Popple maps in there, which also shows like where and when you connected with these people,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
which is awesome. It's
Yeah.
like there's a little map thing in the app and you can be like, oh shoot, that's because we all forget.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Who's this person?
That's cool to like cold call after, like, hey, thanks for coming by our
I
show
love doing that.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
doing
if you ever
that.
need us, that's great.
And that's a great point that you made. You know, following up, right? Like bartending is seasonal, right?
Yeah.
And so during those down periods, touching base with your previous customers, especially the ones that enjoy you, that's always a good thing, right? Especially like even during the holidays.
Right, right.
Yeah.
100%. And especially like when they're in that planning phase.
Yeah.
That's when you want to just come right in,
Time.
right? So then you obviously got social media, right? Social media is big in our industry.
That's the new business card.
That's
Yeah.
the
Like
resume.
it or not.
That is
yes.
your resume.
Yeah.
That is your like digital resume of how good are your cocktails, how good is your brand, all of that stuff. Super important. Instagram, TikTok, all those things. You got to be on there. You got to find your cadence with it, and you got to kind of like like just figure out a way to be present because our industry is about nurturing the client. First, you got to build awareness. Then you got to nurture them. You got to remind them, You got it right. If you first meet somebody and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're a mobile bartender," you let them know that's the awareness piece.
Right.
But they don't have a thing to buy right now. It's not like a pair of shoes. We're like, "Oh, I can buy some shoes right now."
Keep
Say
your
top of
name
mind.
You got to
in
be
their
top of
forefront.
mind. That's
Yeah.
it. You got to be top of
Yeah.
mind. So therefore, you have to stay consistent on social media because
Yeah.
you made them aware, and then now you posted something. They brought it. Boom. There's an event.
That's what stories are really good
Right.
for.
Yep.
Really
You're
good.
just in people's eyes all
Right.
day
Yeah.
long,
Right.
every day.
So
Yeah.
the importance with this day and age is pretty important. You got to figure out a way to do it. We would just say like, I know with the whole social media thing, like, CJ, you and I, we're not those folks.
Yeah.
But it's
we're
more
just
not.
old.
yeah, we're just
Ryan is more,
Okay,
but I'm old.
saying that like
Yeah.
we're old, it's a
Yeah.
different time,
It's a
but
different
we
world.
have to be
Right,
flexible.
right,
We have to
yeah.
be able to work with it.
I say
Yeah.
it's
You
like
say
playing
it.
the new
You say
Madden. If you play video games,
I didn't play
Madden,
video games.
if you're
you
still
lost
playing,
me.
if you're
You lost
playing
me.
Madden 2000 and it's 2025, like I'm sorry,
You
no
gotta
one's
catch
playing
up with the
2000
times.
anymore.
Yeah.
You got to
you
step it
can't
up.
see me in Madden 2000.
Right. But at the end of the day, I think that you can find your own way through it,
Right.
and make it work. And a lot of people will say like, document, don't create. If you
Yeah.
put yourself in this mindset, like I got to do something now. Like even
Right,
even right now, like this is probably your best format to capture something for social media because
For sure.
we're just talking. We're just talking
For sure.
shit.
It's
Yeah.
natural.
You know what I mean? It's natural, and
Yeah.
we're gonna get some stuff out of it.
Yeah.
That's talking about the industry, and now
Yeah.
people can see you and be aware of what you do.
Yep.
But like, if you're telling me like I gotta go and do this and start doing dances and stuff, you're like, that's not me.
That's not me.
And I might do this one time, but I'm for sure not gonna be consistent with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
No, I think you said
finding
it best.
your
Yeah,
own venue.
document.
Right.
Right.
People like to connect
Yeah.
with you, and people like realistic. You know,
Don't be perfect.
No, and that's what I mentioned
Yeah.
earlier. People, well, I'll speak for myself. When I come across, let's talk about social media being like the new business card. When I come across accounts that are like super perfect, it's so intimidating and it's
Right.
an immediate
Yeah.
turn off. Like
Right.
people want to be able to watch your stories and know like, hey, I'm prepping for an event and now all of a sudden a gallon of lime juice exploded all over the place.
Right.
Like it's real and people can connect with that, and that's what people want to see. That's what
Yes.
people
Yeah.
can say, like, you know what, Viv can come to my house because I spill lemon all over myself every day, all the time.
Right.
You know, I know that's
Right.
random to say.
No,
It's
you're saying
realistic. Yeah.
You're someone that people can relate to.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And
Yeah.
because we're all human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we're all human.
That's
Except
exactly
for
right.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's a,
Yeah.
No.
It's getting there.
It's also human.
It's getting there.
That
you
is a
know?
person.
Yeah, but no, I'm so glad you said that. I just had a consulting call with Arena Mobile Bar. Shout out to them. They're out in San Francisco. They're
Ew.
doing some cool stuff.
Okay, San Francisco.
You know what I mean? But like they are, he was talking to me about like, man, I hate being in front of the camera, but I need to build my business. I need
Yeah.
to build
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah.
And I need to be better with the marketing side of things. I'm like, yeah, it's because you're thinking of it in a way of like, I need to like do something social media.
Exactly.
It's just like, dude,
exactly.
you do all these events. Just put a camera over there and just do what you
100%.
do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or just tell one of your bartenders to pull out the phone.
Everything is
Right.
content.
Yeah.
Everything.
You just-
yeah.
just
See those
document.
DJ sets where they just set the camera and then
Right.
they're just DJing.
You're
and
stuck in
grooving.
Right.
traffic
You're
like
just like-
Just
everybody
there.
else.
And I
Yeah.
understand that like that may be not it may be second nature to you to like set up a camera.
Right,
But
right.
that's the part you got to probably get over that.
Right.
Just put the thing up, buy yourself a little tripod or something like that, and just set the thing up. You know it's important, so just do it.
Yeah.
You know.
It's funny that I'm saying that.
Okay, yeah,
Just
really.
saying. Go on to the next one.
He's working
Right.
on it. He's
So
working on
the,
it.
the next one is a part of this is finding clients. We won't jump too much into this, but we will have a whole nother episode that will like really get into details and help people out. But there's so many platforms that will help you get leads
Yeah.
that are out there. There's obviously word of mouth. The core thing that I always say here, before you do anything, is your product has to be dialed in. And what I mean by your
Yeah.
product is everything that you provide when you show up. It's your service. It's showing up on time. It's smiling. It's your cocktails. It's
Yeah.
your setup. It's everything. That is your product when we're doing our business. That has to be dialed in because if you have that dialed in, if you're constantly in a growth mindset that I will always get better at my product, then you will get the best form of leads and marketing, which is word of mouth.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You have every single event, there's an opportunity where there's someone that can purchase your services.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it right, someone's going to be there out of the 100
Right.
people. Someone's going
Right.
to be there and be like, I got something coming up and I would love to
Yeah.
use you. Let's do this. But at the same time, if you want to crank up those leads a little bit and really try to like ignite it, you got like Thumbtack, The Knot, Zola, Yelp, Gig Salad, The Bash, Bark. You have all these things, but it's just about knowing how to use them. You know what I mean? Knowing how to use it and knowing what works for you, baking in, if there's a cost to it, baking in that cost into your prices, like all those things. But the one thing that I would say that's super important that we're leaning on heavily is like the Google My Business stuff. You got to create your Google My Business page. Or that account and start getting reviews. Right.
Google
so it's
reviews is everything.
Yes.
Nobody makes any purchase without seeing what everyone else thinks about it.
Right. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. And what would normally happen in our world is like people will say, looking for a bartender for hire or mobile bartender in X city. Right. And you want to be that person that kind of
first
like
one to pop up. Yeah.
And then it's all credibility at that point. Like, oh shoot, this guy got like 50 reviews in my city. Yeah. Like we probably went to the same high school. Right. You know what I mean? Like you don't know. So like, you know, that kind of thing. And then you build that community and that network. So it's like super important. That's one thing I'll say, take away, got to do that.
Yeah.
Right? All right. We're going to jump to the next one. This one's interesting, and I keep saying we're going to do an episode on all of these.
We
but
really
it's
do.
Pricing.
Oh,
pricing.
Yeah.
We don't have to jump too crazy into it because I love talking about pricing.
You are literally are the numbers guy.
Oh, dude, I love it so much because it's like it's interesting hearing everybody's approach to it, how they think about pricing, you know, and like it's so interesting, and it is for sure the top 3 thing that mobile bartenders think about when they come to us. It's all like, how do I price myself? Is it too high? Am I too low? Like, am I putting out the value? What are other people doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like all of these like questions.
And it's still something you deal with like years into business because everything fluctuates.
You always,
everything's always changing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
because the market dictates your price too.
Bingo. Right. That's it. And I got a little tip with that. And I think everyone's like, every time I tell them, they're like, huh, I really thought about it like that. It's something I stole, but I'll come back to that. But first of all, with the price, like I like when you can survey the land, right? Like literally, if you have to, it's a little cheat code. You can call other mobile bartenders in your city and act as a client.
Act
like, hey, I'm trying to do this event.
Because I did that. Actually, I had my neighbor call like a mobile bartender and pretend she was hiring. Oh my gosh. But I got a lot of good information.
Right. So it's like you can do that and just get it. But you know, some people are open and honest. Like I remember when we first jumped into it, I was doing a ton of research. Like some people would just like, yeah, I'll talk to you. Like, yeah, I'll let you know what I charge. Like, who cares? Because at the end of the day, price is just a number. The biggest thing is, are you going to deliver the value that person thinks that they're getting with that price?
Right.
And that comes to brand and the product and all the other things we talked about. So even if these other if anybody tells you, I charge $1,000, I charge this, I charge that, who cares? Right. Because I know what I'm going to deliver. I'm going to deliver on that. Can you do the same?
Yeah.
That's the question.
There you go.
Right? But I will say this. One thing you have to factor into your price is your expenses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
And there's so many more than you really realize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You have to be mindful. I think Ryan always says it best. You know, imagine paying someone else to do what you are doing. Right. You know, I know, like Startup 101, do the things that are not scalable, but you have to put that mindset of, hey, if I had to pay someone, what's the price? Right.
What is and think about that, because I'm not saying like what we did, I don't advise for anybody. Like we started, I think we talked about the last episode.
Oh,
it was like,
we did.
We started about $135.
You were paying people to bartend for them.
I was losing money 1,000%. So I don't advise that at all. Like I think the bare minimum, you at least need to like
when you're starting,
know your expenses, and even if you don't make that much profit, because I think what's most important, what I'm trying to say, is that you need to have your at-bats. You know what I mean? You need to at least like get out there and do things, because you want to be able to make your product better. And the only way you're going to do that is by learning. Yeah. Right? And the only way you can get out there is sometimes like again, your value. Let's say you're starting your business. You don't have no experience, no nothing. What is your value at that point? It's pretty low. It should be low. Like unless you're just some unique unicorn that knows how to make, cocktails, and you read so many books and you try things, whatever. But if you haven't had the experience, maybe your value is low. That's cool. That's okay with starting with that. But at least as you're getting better and better, you increase your price over time.
Yeah.
But to what you said, CJ, it's just about knowing. Yeah. At least like, I made the decision. I knew I was losing money.
Right.
And I was okay with that.
You were fine.
I just wanted to brand.
Because it was a learning.
Yeah. I just wanted to, I knew that we
were.
we were on a different path. We were going to create this software, all these things. So it's like, all right, that's okay. I just want to get out there and just learn about what these bartenders
have
doing.
it like that to be able to lose. But if you ain't got it like that, which is, the majority of people, you're not looking to start your own business because you already have money.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're looking to start your own business because you're looking for a way for financial freedom.
Right.
Right. And so, you just have to be mindful of what you're doing because your time is valuable.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. But don't lose the major thing when you're starting this thing is you want your experience. You want your product to be perfect. Don't jump. I've seen some bartending companies that jump into this space and try to charge what Vivian would charge.
Yeah.
When she's been doing it for X amount of years. And it's just all like, you're not going to get that much business. Like, I'll tell you that right now, because you're still figuring your shit out.
Yeah.
Or you'll get the business.
Right. You may get somebody,
right, but you're not going to
retain
them.
Right.
Right, because can you meet that expectation?
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
And this industry is built on repeat customers.
100%.
Anybody can get a one-time customer.
Yeah.
100%.
Anybody can get a one-time.
Right.
But do they call you every time they have
Every
an
time.
event?
Is it the
Right.
first person they think about?
Do they
right?
consider you if I'm not doing an event without you
Right.
because we have those.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you were worth it.
We were worth
that
it.
expense. Yeah.
And so the cheat code, which I give this all to Alex Hermosi, like he's dope. I listen to him, follow him a lot.
Okay,
But
thanks,
he does
Alex.
something to where I think this is going back to, right? You're trying to match your value and your price. You want to be in that ballpark,
Yeah.
right? That's the goal.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is to let the market dictate, like what you said, what that is, right? So every 5 events increase your price.
Boom.
Oh, okay.
Very,
never
very
thought, yeah.
interesting concept,
Yeah.
right? So like,
Incremental.
right,
not-
increments, yeah, not crazy. But Alex Murray said like 20%, right?
Okay.
Like I would tell people like just add $25 to your profits. No one's gonna really see it.
Okay.
No one's gonna really feel it. But you just add it or something like that. Whatever incremental amount you want, figure that out.
Right.
But every 5 events, do it because now
interesting.
on
Yeah.
that 6th event, if they pay and if people are still like, I'm still gonna pay, immediately with the same type of response, then therefore your value is worth what the next person is willing to pay.
Right.
That's what it's worth.
That's
So if you
cool.
increase your prices and they pay it, that's what
Cool.
you're worth.
Yeah.
You keep doing it. Then you get to a point now if you're starting to see people like gasp or they're slowing down their responses
Okay.
or they're just not booking you,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you may get to the point, let me bring it
Drop
back
it
down
back
a little
down.
bit. This
That's
is
so
where
cool.
I'm at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never thought, or I think the automatic thought to that is you increase your price at the beginning of the year. I feel like that's what people normally do because when I hear from vendors or venues like, okay, it's 2025 now, are your prices still the same? But I
Yeah,
never considered that.
I don't
Yeah,
think that's
every
the way
5
to do it
events.
because that's not you're at that point, these people are thinking like new year, new goals, new all those things.
Yeah.
Right,
No,
right.
what the market tells you what you're worth, if they're willing to pay
Okay.
it, that's what you're worth.
Especially when holiday season comes around.
Note to,
Right.
Note to self.
Yeah,
okay.
to like mess with it a little bit. So a little tidbit right there.
Okay, very
Okay,
cool.
guys. So that was 6 tips. We went through a lot.
Yeah.
We went through a lot.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through a quick like bonus tip.
Okay.
And I think this is cool. I think you should even do this even before you get your first event because you want to kind of like think about it helps you think about the process when you have the event. But it's create your like inventory sheet or your checklist. We call it a checklist.
Lord.
Right.
Create the checklist. Okay, what do you
Don't
need?
ask me.
What do you need for the event? Okay, this is happening. Okay, I need tools. I need to make sure I have enough lime juice. I need to make sure I have this. I need to bring my portable bar. Like literally
Napkins,
list it all
straws,
out.
Mixers.
Right? Because we've all been there.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
forgot some shit.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Right? You show up to the event like, damn, that wine opener.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you feel
That's the
dumb.
worst.
You know,
Thank
it's
you,
like,
thank you, Instacart, for
Yeah.
do you know how
saving
bad
me.
it sounds when you go up to your host and be like, "Do you have a wine
What?
opener?"
Oh,
Like,
my
"Oh, you're the
gosh.
bartender. How you doing?"
so
You know,
Or how
embarrassing.
about your
In
main
there.
mixer for the most popular
Right.
cocktail?
Oh my gosh.
Or how
Oh my
about
gosh.
your certain staff member dropped and spilled all the mixers right as they showed up and were setting up for someone's wedding
Yes.
in front of everybody? It's great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Crying
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Golly.
Right.
True story. True
Oh
story.
my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think going through that, even for before your first event, is good to have.
Yeah.
It just
Create your
triggers that
checklist,
mindset, right?
And then also create a fail-safe system. So, right, which means that
Ooh,
go through your
that's a good
checklist the
point.
first time, and then before you leave, go through it a second time.
Right.
Because an extra 10 minutes of double checking your checklist
Right.
will save you a
A lot
lifetime
headache.
of worry.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I mean, I know we all love high blood pressure, but
yeah.
you ain't got to.
But CJ, to your point, man, especially when you're juggling multiple events, you're like,
Right,
did I?
right.
You know, it's you
I'll-
got to have a process. in
I'll
place.
tell you a story of the first event that I worked with Ryan.
Oh, that was a mess.
The first day,
Such a mess.
we
Oh my
had
gosh.
oh my
Not
god
on the first.
on the first, right?
Flew you in from Arizona.
So yeah, no. This is like when it was official.
Oh, yeah,
I
you were
moved
here,
in
you were
from
here.
Arizona, and we had 3 events on one day, and we dropped off for each event. We had bartenders working each one,
This was so bad.
only to get to the last eve. So we went from, oh man, I want to say like we must have had I think we had an event in the IE that we dropped off for first. Then we had an event in Orange County that we dropped off for second. Then we had an event in Carson
Right.
Oh, Lord.
that we were working,
We were working out.
right? And so we get to we do all the drop offs. We get to Carson, only to get there and realize that the main mixer we
Shoot.
need.
No, we
was-
left a whole cooler.
Yeah, we left the wrong
the
cooler,
wrong cooler at the other event.
but we didn't know which event.
yeah. Right.
So that was the trick. So Ryan just like, hey, you got to go back.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God. You figure it
on
out.
my first day.
Right,
Stop
right.
it.
Well, because
So-
I was bartending the event.
Yeah, so-
and so I was
and-
like, oh, I can't go because like, I'm going to make something while I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, and just tell them we don't have this ingredient or whatever.
Terrible.
So bad.
So then we had to call our bartender. She's like, nope, that cooler ain't with us. So then we figured out that it was at the other one. And so so I had to drive back, go grab the cooler.
And
I
it wasn't
mean,
like something you could like easily order to
No.
get delivered. Oh,
No,
God.
it was something like
No.
I think it was like specific that we normally get, or we weren't thinking of that.
Yeah.
No,
One of the two.
yeah, we weren't. I mean, we're guys, so we weren't.
Right,
thinking.
right.
Right.
Oh, we
Yeah,
gotta go get it. You gotta go
You
get
guys
it.
do things a
Right.
little
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
Because it's also because we felt like we could ease it over. Like I can make some other cocktails
Right.
Yeah.
in the meantime while he goes and gets it. But like then you think about like the gas and your time to go get it. It's like that probably wasn't.
It probably took me like 2 hours of
Right.
round trip.
Oh.
Yeah,
And
so,
2 hours,
like-
depending
Yeah, or
if
maybe
you're.
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right.
But if you're doing it a formal event, 2 hours, you're already having like the father-daughter, speeches.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my
No, we were lucky
gosh.
that it was like a backyard, and
yeah.
it was a high school buddy.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, which was
gosh.
those are the
Yeah.
best, right? It's all like
shouts
what?
out to Sonny.
Yeah, Sonny. man, he's
Yeah,
dope.
Thanks,
bro.
Sonny,
Shout out.
for giving him a
Sonny,
pass.
appreciate this. Damn. Oh, he didn't even know that we were missing that
I
ingredient.
know.
We
I
were
know.
so
Never
good.
mind,
Sorry,
Sonny.
My
Never
bad.
mind,
Yeah.
Sonny.
No, but and that's why it's worth double checking.
Right.
Just because, right? Like you miss things, but right. The most important thing is to learn from your mistakes.
Right. That's
Yeah.
it.
Because I remember quickly after that, we started using
Color
color-coded duct tape
Right.
to
That's
for
right.
coolers.
Right.
Yeah.
And shouts out to Alana.
Yeah. Shout out to my wife Alana.
Yeah.
She crushed it with
Because
that.
you know what's men didn't even know there was color-coded duct. There was different colors of duct tape.
Right.
I just know gray.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that
Right.
was it.
Right.
But yeah,
Good thing
no.
you're not colorblind.
Am
Sometimes
I?
you act like you sure are. Though.
Yeah. It's only when you ask me what color this dress is that I pretend to be colorblind.
You know what?
Yeah.
Don't you guys, or somebody has like their inventory sheet inside of one of those like cellophane binder papers?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's good.
really, really good.
Yeah. Mine's in here and it's no good. Don't do that. Oh my gosh. Save yourself
Yeah.
the
No,
anxiety.
no, this is
That's-
great.
that's
I
really
think we
it.
went through a lot of like good like the 6 tips of like, you know, when you're ready to start your mobile business, like things you just got to think about and just go through. And then that bonus tip was awesome. So, you know, I really hope there's some value here.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to
Yeah.
be great, like, you know, each one of these, there may be something that people want to go dive deeper in, you know? So it's like, we're going to for sure do that. And we're going to bring in some experts and some really good people to like, that can stand on what they're saying
Yeah.
and say like, hey, we recommend you do this and that and type of thing. And these things are evolving.
Yep.
So like, as we keep doing more episodes, we may have a different opinion about how you approach things, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But bottom line, it's not that hard.
No,
you know, it's not
it's
that
not.
hard
No,
to get
no. It's
not.
started, to launch your business.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's just time that will help you, you know, perfect
Right.
what you're doing or
Right.
figure out, you know, those things that aren't necessarily black and white.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, a little shameless plug, come to Happiest Hours. We'll help you out with all of that.
Right. We'll get you
100%.
right. At the
Exactly.
end of the day, these are all nice to haves. But I think the best have
Right.
is to just go out and do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be your best teacher.
That's it. Just go out there,
Yeah,
knock it
yeah.
out. All right, guys. I think right now we got a really cool thing that we're gonna start doing. We're gonna give it up, and this is gonna be a moment for CJ with the facts. All right. So first of all, y'all need to follow him up. He just changed his Instagram handle today.
Just for you
Yeah.
Yep,
guys.
and it's called CJ with the facts, and I'm surprised that handle is available.
Hey, well, there's not that many CJs in the world. So
With the
shouts
facts.
out-
With the facts.
So shouts out to all
Not
the
with the
CJs.
fur.
Right,
Not with the
right.
fur.
Yeah,
With the
right.
facts.
With the facts.
I love it. What we got
so-
here, man? What you want to bring up first?
So today, for our very first CJ with the facts, I want to talk about what's happening a little bit in our industry. So not a lot of event bartenders may know this, but those in the alcohol industry will know this. RNDC. RNDC just lost a major account. For those of you guys who don't know, RNDC is probably the #1 largest alcohol distributor.
yeah, number 1,
Right.
2 with Southern.
We're
Mhm.
#1/2.
Yeah.
And what a distributor is that in the U.S., alcohol is split up between 3 different entities, right? You have the people who produce and make alcohol,
Right.
who then have to sell to distributors, right? Who are guys who go ahead and house their alcohol. And then those distributors sell to the third entity, which are retailers. Those can be liquor stores or those can be on premise. Those can be restaurants and bars, right? So for RNDC, one of the top ones in the game, to lose a brand like Tito's, right? We all know Tito's. Tito's sells
Yeah.
itself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Tito's went over to the Reyes family, with AKA Gate City,
Right.
right? Which started out as a beer distribution company.
Right. They
Um,
handle Modelo's.
Is
and-
Reyes and RNDC like the 2
Coors.
big hitters?
well, so this is what's interesting about it is like Reyes or Gate City or whatever, you know, they have multiple whatever where they go by
Right.
nowadays, but like they're mainly a beer distributor. Like all your Coronas, Modelo's,
Yeah.
all of those things, right? We use them to get those products, and so does Costco, everybody
Mhm.
else.
We're
You
all
know,
going to the same
everybody's
person.
getting
That's
it from
Gate
them.
City.
But
Yeah.
now
Okay.
the first move was with Sazerac,
Yep.
which was huge,
And
right?
for-
Sazerac is like your
Wellers.
Blantons and Wellers and Eagle Rares and like all of those
Yes.
brands that people really want, and that just kind of like they want those high end whiskeys or whatnot that have all sorts of value with it. But now this move, and that came from RNDC as well.
Right, right.
But now
RNDC used to
Tito's
have them.
Made this move, which
Yeah.
is like crazy. That's big. Like that's a big shift. And now it's like you just kind of think of like why. You know
I was
what I
going
mean?
to say, do you know what the why is?
So there's no way for me to know what the why is
Right.
because like no one pays me enough. You know what I'm saying? To
Really,
know that
Ryan?
why.
You gotta pick up
I'm
the
sorry.
slack.
Like,
We're
no,
startup.
no,
We're
no.
startup.
Real talk.
It's
Like
tough.
you have to be a billionaire to really be to have an ear in those rooms,
Right.
right? Because
Yeah.
you're talking about the people who make Modelo.
Okay.
Modelo's the #1 beer
Truth.
in the world,
Yeah.
right? Right. You're talking about
Hashtag Modelo time.
yeah, it's
Hey.
Modelo time. So no, but for like a brand like Tito's, for a brand like Sazerac to leave, right?
Yeah.
And what a company like RNDC offers is they offer salespeople,
Right.
They offer logistics, right? They offer relationships, right? Because like RNDC is actually the oldest distributor,
Mm.
right? They come from Young's, which is
Is that just here in California or like the
the,
country?
Oh,
the
they're-
world, like
world.
the
Or
world.
at least, at least in the U.S. from what I know.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure the
Yeah,
U.S.,
yeah.
but I actually think they have even further relationships. So that's a huge move, right? And so what that means is that for those of you guys who enjoy Tito's, it can mean a price change.
Right.
Oh.
It can mean it may be a little bit harder or maybe a little bit easier
Right.
Mhm.
for your regular store to go ahead and pick it up from.
Right. Right.
So, which is great. Ryan, why do you think?
Yeah. No, my thought process is, especially with these brands, is that I feel like, they built their brand so much that they don't need salespeople anymore.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
like the RNDCs, the Southerns of the world, what they pitch is like, hey, we're gonna get you in the right places and we're gonna rep your brand, right? As if we are like part of your company. And they got a ton of brands that's under them, but then they got their priorities, like, that kind of thing. But now you go to a beer distributor and they're probably just more so logistics than anything. They're not really like, from what at least our experience is, they're not selling us anything. We see them maybe once a year, twice a year, whatever it is.
Or you check the website.
Right. Or you got to fetch them. They're not coming after you.
They just need to make sure they get it to you.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
think about it. Tito's is such a big enough brand now
Yeah.
that like they don't need someone to talk about Tito's. Like all these restaurants and bars, and
Right.
they're gonna buy it regardless.
Yeah.
So now in their minds, they're like, okay, I'm assuming that these beer distributors are charging less than these other distributors
Yeah.
that they don't need the sales aspect of it because they built so much big brand. So they're saving money on that aspect. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That could be
It always
or,
comes down to
Yeah.
money.
right,
Right.
exactly. How do you pay less for more?
Yeah.
But sometimes that comes with a worse
Yeah.
experience.
With its
right,
own price.
right. Like,
Yeah.
well, what it's probably going to do is like bring in a new player.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Now it's like you're not, your brand is not, you're not getting all the extras out of it kind of thing. And, sometimes you still need that human interaction. You need the story behind it. And that story gets lost a little bit if you're just transactional. So I feel like it can create new players to come in and really, right? Because I think a lot of people buy things off of stories now and how they can connect to the brand.
Right. Right.
So if you don't have that aspect there, it can hurt. So
stay tuned and we'll find out more.
Yeah.
But
Or just buy a lot of Tito's like right now.
yeah, buy Tito's now.
right.
Sorry guys, it's too late. It's already been happening. But
Right.
no, seriously, no, I just want to say thank you guys for sure for lending us your ears,
right.
your attention, your time. That means the world to us. And looking forward to catching up with you guys next week.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You guys, this is going to be great. We're going to keep these podcasts going. Stay tuned. Follow us here behind the mobile bar. Follow the Boozy Broker. Follow the Thirsty Horse. Follow CJ with the
CJ with the facts.
And then we'll do some more podcasts and tune in, y'all. We appreciate it.
Don't forget to ask questions. There's always like
Yes.
those questions that you
Every week, send them in.
send them in. We
will
would
put 'em
love
on
to
the-
help.
on the
Let
podcast.
us do the legwork for you.
Yes.
There's so many
Yes.
gray zones. Let us help. Shoot us a message.
Yeah,
Right.
we're here for you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Peace.